You call yourself a man? You know you're a lying, low-life, motherfucking gambling degenerate prick. You know that's what you are?
Well, hello, you degenerate fucks, and welcome to the Degenerate Gambler. It is Thursday, the 8th of September. I'm just here with another episode. Going to go through last week. Uh, last week for me, very frustrating weekend. Uh, I had a few bets that were close, some were agonizingly close. It just was one of those weekends that, just it's annoying when you get that close and you don't touch. I've actually had the same midweek. I had a bet in uh, Tuesday that was very close as well. So yeah, look, when you're close and you're knocking on the door, it's better than getting blown out, but it is frustrating because it's just that one goal, one whatever away from a win. So I'll look at the bets from last week. So before I get into my main bet and my overs bet, I did an early bet. It's one of the first early bets I've actually done this season. Um, and it was a bit of a sort of bet builder and a few other things put together. But it was basically I think I had corners and cards in the Liverpool match. I had both teams to score over twos and both to score in the Rangers match, and then I had a couple of other ones. Had a German match, etc. But the only thing that beat that was Rangers didn't score. That's what beat it. So that started off the day in a frustrating way. So going into the main bet, I had Spurs who won, Norwich who won, Real Madrid who won. Sheffield Wednesday were beat, and it was actually Barnsley that beat them. And Barnsley beat my bet the week before against Ipswich. Uh, Drew two each. So they've fucked me over twice in a row. And then the last team was Salford, who also they drew two each that day. Um, so again, both of these, I don't think Sheffield Wednesday were ever ahead. I think Barnsley went 1-0 and then 2-0 up, as far as I remember. Salford were ahead, but as I say, look, it was beat. The overs bet again, strange because, and I tweeted this out with I think 20 minutes to go. I had four up, but uh, Accrington, Stanley, Ipswich again was 0-0. And I tweeted it out saying it's fucking really frustrating when you've got four your games up, but you don't really have a sweat because even one goal in that game, you're thinking, well, there's a chance here, whatever. But shortly after I tweeted that, Ipswich did score, but I think it was about the 75th minute, and it's highly unlikely they're going to score. There's going to be three goals in that sort of 15 minutes. Um, I mean, if you went and looked at an in-play match with 15 minutes to go and looked at what over twos was, it would be 3 or 4 to 1. So it would. So very unlikely. Now they did score again about 85, which did leave about 10, it was actually about 10 minutes or more because I think there was 6 or 7 minutes injury time. But it's just the fact of scoring three goals that quick, unless when they scored in 75, if Accrington Stanley had went up the other end and scored, and it's one each, and both teams are sort of still vying for a win and going for it, then you have a better chance. But when Ipswich go 2-0 up with five left, your best bet there is that Accrington Stanley sort of down tools and Ipswich just get the third, but it's very unlikely. But again, the bet was very close, but to me it wasn't much of a sweat because, as I say, um, it was just 2-0 with 5 minutes to go. You're sort of in your last leg there. The evening bet was well, it was frustrating in a different way. So I had a wee bet, sort of a bet builder in the PSG game, which was up PSG to win, and I think I had over two cards for whoever they were playing. City, I had City to win and over a certain amount of corners, and both were actually beat. Obviously, City drew one each with Villa, so that was frustrating. I had Sligo Rovers, they won, and then I had two cards in the Seville game for Seville against Barcelona. Barcelona actually had three, and Seville only had two, so that was beat. So not great from the evening. And I did say in the evening, that's why I did the bet builder style, because there wasn't a lot of great games. There was no game in the National League. The German game wasn't great. you were basically slim pickings to sort of pick a decent bet. So that's what I came up with anyway. And then Sunday, again, my bet that I picked wasn't great. I was only going to do one bet. That was United and Arsenal both to score, which was up. Antwerp to win, they did. Midtjylland were hammered, I think 2 or 3-0. Bilbao were beat later on. Gladbach and Mainz both to score. Mainz win 1-0, and Flamengo to win. They drew one each. So that was a pretty poor bet. But as I say, Sunday again, there wasn't. I don't think there was great games that stood out. So I was only going to do the one bet, but I did manage to get a fiver free bet. Or sorry, it wasn't. It was I won £4 on spins, and I had a £1 free bet on Ladbrokes, so I was able to join them together and get a £5 bet. So I did an 11-fold over 1.5s, and there was 10 up, and the one that beat it was Blackpool and Huddersfield, which was 1-0. But because it was ag insured the way Ladbrokes do ag insurance, I got another free bet out of it. So I'll probably use that on Wednesday or Thursday night for the Champions League or the Europa League. But yeah, so that was frustrating too. To have an 11-fold and get 10 of them up is again frustrating. So let's look at the favourites, and it actually was a decent week. So the fact that I came close with a couple of bets, it makes sense, but it would have been nice to get over the line. But anyway, the favourites. So if you're a new listener, if you don't listen all the time, what I do here is I look at each league and I pick out based on the price how many favourites won, how many draws there was, and how many outsiders won. And then I also lately been doing if the games were over 2.5 or not. So in the Premier League, there was 12 games over the weekend. 6 favourites won, 3 draws, 3 outsiders. In the Championship, there was 11 games. There was 4 favourites, 2 draws, and 5 outsiders. Again, the Championship doing what it does best. Cannot predict. League One, there was 12 games, 7 favourites, 3 draws, 2 outsiders. League Two, 12 games again, 7 winners again, 4 draws, and only 1 outsider. The National League, 12 games, 8 favourites, only 1 draw, and 3 outsiders. So as you can tell, are those sort of bottom 3 leagues. The Premier League was basically 50%. The other 3 leagues were above 50%. The Championship below. So in total, that worked out at of 59 games, 32 were favourites, 13 draws, and 14 outsiders, which was a grand total of 54% of favourites won. So that's higher than it's been recently. So again, that sort of explains why you're able to pick some teams. In the overs, so again, Premier League 12 games, 6 and 6, 6 over, 6 not. Championship 5 over, 6 not. League One 6 over, 6 not. League Two 7 over, 5 not. National League 7 over, 5 not. Again, out of 59 games, that was 31 over and 28 not. So that is about 52%. So again, I managed to get 4 up of the overs. That sort of explains why it was above 50%. So let's get on to this week. The main bet doesn't pay that much this week. Again, another week of where I'm looking at teams that I'm not fancying. So I've got 4 teams in England and I've got a game in Italy. It's actually a late game, which I don't like doing. I do like to have them all around 3 o'clock or as close to 3 o'clock as possible. But anyway, first team this week is Sheffield United. Sheffield United are at home to Rotherham. 1-2, which is 1.5. In the form and stuff, Sheffield United are top. Rotherham are about 10th. Sheffield United have a pretty good home form. Peterborough is the next team. Peterborough are at home to Forest Green. They're 4-6, which is 1.67. Peterborough, they're sitting they're not they're sort of sitting just outside the playoffs. Forest Green sitting just outside the relegation, but Peterborough have played 2 home games or 3 home games actually, and they've won all 3, so they've got pretty good home form. Next, it's Barrow. Barrow are at home to Colchester, and it is 19-20, which is 1.95 in decimal. If you want to look at the form in that one, Barrow are third in League Two, and Chesterfield or Colchester, sorry, are 20th. Form Barrow form's not great. They've only got 9 points from 5 games. Colchester only got 4 points, but Barrow's home form, 3 home games, win all three. Colchester away from home, no points. That does concern me slightly because they have to get a point at some time, but let's hope it's not this week. Next, we're into the National League, and it's the team sitting top, and that is Chesterfield, and they are at home to Gateshead. They're 9 to 20, which is just under 1 to 2, and that's 1.45 in decimal form. They've got 13 points out of 15, so 4 wins and a draw. Gateshead only 4 points. They played three at home and they've won all three. Gateshead, three away. They've only got 1 point. And then lastly is Inter Milan. Inter Milan are home to Torino. Torino actually above them in the league. But it's Inter. They're home. And they've played 2 home games and won both of them. Torino have actually won 2 to 3 away, so they're going all right. But Inter at home against Torino, they've beat them 3 times in a row. So, Inter maybe having a slightly slow start, but you would expect Inter to be beating Torino at home. So in total, that only comes in like 9.2 to 1. So a tenner on that only pays 102 quid. There is no bonus because there's obviously a National League team in there, or else it would have been like a 10 or 15% bonus. But it is what it is. I'm happy enough with that. Into the overs. As I say, it is getting to the point of the season where I am checking form because a lot of these leagues are 7, 8 games in. So you can sort of see who's scoring and stuff. So first game is Southampton Brentford, 17 to 20. That's 1.85 in decimal. Ipswich Cambridge, 9 to 10. That's 1.9 in decimal. Plymouth Sheffield Wednesday, 9 to 10, 1.9. Mansfield Bradford, even money. That's 2.0. And Maidenhead Solihull is 4 to 5, which is 1.8. In total, that comes to 23 to 1. So happy enough with that too. Looking ahead quickly to next week, and Tuesday is actually a really big night. Wednesday and Thursday, not so much, but anyway, so Tuesday we'll have 6 championship games, a full fixture list, 12 in League One, full fixture list, 12 in League Two, and the same in the National League. In the National League North, there's 11 games. In the National League South, 10 games. There's 8 Champions League games, and there's actually 15 Irish Cup games, which is the Northern Ireland Premier League, sort of where I am. So a pretty big night of football there. Wednesday, again, because of the full fixture list, not so much. But Wednesday we'll have 6 championship. They have a National League South, one game in the Irish Cup. There's 7 MLS games, which is something, and then 8 Champions League games. So not a huge amount that night, but not bad. And then Thursday nights is Europa League, so 16 of the Europa League and 16 of the Europa Conference League. So yeah, Tuesday looks like a good night for maybe a couple of bets. The other nights maybe a couple of small bets. I have been doing that recently, if you've noticed, when there's not a lot on, but I still fancy a bet. Instead of doing a fiver, which I would sort of call a fiver to me is 1 point. That's my average bet. I do bet more than that sometimes, but most of the time it's around a fiver. So if it's like that one I did on the Champions League that was beat by Oxford City, I just did 250 because you're struggling for games. You're picking things that you maybe don't fancy 100%, but you're doing it just to get an interest. So if you're going to do that, you'd be better lowering your stake. You've still got an interest. Okay, you'll win less if it wins, but when you're making selections out of less amount of games, then you're also lowering your odds of being successful. Having 30, 40 games to choose from means you can sort of weed out the good from the bad. When you're choosing from 8 Champions League games and one game from 2 or 3 other leagues, you're basically trying to choose 4 or 5 selections from 15. you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna pick things you don't really fancy. So look, I'll never not do a bet if there's something on. I'll usually, I'll have like a bet to have something to be interested in, something to keep my eye on. So the way to do that is to just lower your stake, and that's what I've done. And I'll probably do the same again on Wednesday night, Thursday night, maybe even Friday night. I made this thing a while ago where I said that I wasn't going to do bets on a Friday night unless there was enough on. But slowly but surely I did. I started doing them again every week. So if I'm going to do it every week, I might just, £2 or £3, 250 on a bet. You know, it just means you still get that interest, but at the same time, you're not going to be losing a fortune. You'll get twice as many bets for your money. So that's it for this week. Just leaves me to say, if you are doing a bet, good luck and happy punting.
Here, get the fuck out of here. Here, thanks. Let me find out you fucked up. I'll leave you wherever I find you.